Hello guys and welcome to Odds on Copa Libertadores, the best competition in South America, and we are going to analyze the four quarterfinals. We have the first leg this week. So let's say hello to Leo Bachanian. How are you, Leo?
Hello, Edu. A pleasure again to be with you.
Also with you, let's analyze these four games. Very interesting. We had some surprises in the last 16, and we have so many Brazilian teams, and we already know a lot about the Serie A. And please, guys, if you enjoy our videos, don't forget to press the like button, of course, subscribe, and click on the bell to get notifications whenever we do these live videos. So, Leo, let's go one by one, starting with the first one, full Brazilian one, in Morumbi, Sao Paulo, Palmeiras. And actually, we had this game only 10 days ago in the Serie A, in the Brasileirão, and there was a goalless draw. Sao Paulo, they were able to beat Racing in Argentina 1-3 with Rigoni scoring a brace to qualify for this round, but they are not good in the Brasileirão. They are 16th. Finally, they got out of the relegation zone after the victory this weekend against Atletico Paranaense. Even though that in Brazil they are not good, they are favorites in this game. Odds are 2.8 to beat Palmeiras. Palmeiras, they were first in the Brasileirão until this weekend when they lost against Fortaleza at home 2-3 with a goal conceded in the last minute. And Palmeiras, they were able to beat U Católica de Chile, winning both legs 1-0. So what do you expect about this game? The bookies tell us, though, that it's going to be very balanced. They actually think that the draw is the most likely outcome.
Yes, and it shows you how a competition on its own is the Copa Libertadores, when it doesn't matter too much, as you were saying, looking at the odds, what's going on in the domestic competition. In this case, two teams from the same competition, which is the Brasileirão Serie A. Yes, we've been talking in our Brazilian Serie A shows, Edu, a lot about the Sao Paulo struggles, but in the Libertadores, their 3-1 win in Buenos Aires in the return leg with Racing was actually some of their best displays in this 2021. They were absolutely clinical. I remember that night. For the Tricolor, is the first appearance in the last 8 of this competition, Edu, since 2016, when they made the semifinals. And despite the struggles we just mentioned, they are now unbeaten in the last 4 games, and they are starting to resemble the team that won the Campeonato Paulista in May, actually against Palmeiras in the final. And actually, Edu, looking to this tie and thinking about the odds you just mentioned, Hernan Crespo's plans the last week work to perfection, because listen to this. He managed to preserve most of his players before Tuesday. His team advanced to the quarterfinal of the Copa do Brasil after beating Vasco da Gama last Wednesday. And as you said, on Saturday, they won against Paranaense to take Sao Paulo out of the relegation zone. So it was basically a very good week for Hernan Crespo. I'm imagining a very similar contest to the one we saw in the Brasileirão 9 days ago when they drew 0-0 in the Morumbi. On that night, Crespo played with the 4-4-2 for the first time in the Brasileirão, and the plan worked. They were better on the night, and they neutralized Palmeiras. And on this Saturday against Atletico Paranaense, everyone was expecting Crespo to revert back to 3 defenders, but again, he played with 4 at the back. Again, his team looked confident and comfortable with that tactical system, so I expect them to repeat the same formation on Tuesday, although with many different interpreters. Like Emiliano Rigoni will be back on the team. The only negative aspect in the last few days for Sao Paulo, Edu, has been the controversy with Dani Alves, who's returning to Brazil. Actually, he returned yesterday. We will see if he's going to be used against Palmeiras. The problem with him is after winning the gold medal in Tokyo with Brazil, he criticized Sao Paulo because, well, I understand his reasons. The club owns him €1.5 million, but some fans anyway felt abandoned by Alves because he chose to play with Brazil instead of staying with Sao Paulo to play in the Serie A, knowing that his team was struggling. Nevertheless, Sao Paulo supporters, Edu, are repeating 2 words these days: eu acredito, I believe. So that's the mood for them. On the other hand, Abel Ferreira Palmeiras manager also rotated his player on the weekend, but with a different outcome. No, as you said, they lost 3-2 at home with Fortaleza. That result ended the run of 10 games, 9 victories and 1 draw without defeats, and also was a result that dropped them from the top of the table. And in addition to losing their unbeaten record, Palmeiras also conceded goals again after 5 matches. Edu, so the vulnerability shown by the Verdao defense on that match may become a warning sign for Tuesday. Anyway, Palmeiras is the highest scoring team remaining in this Copa Libertadores, but Sao Paulo, on the other hand, defense have handled Palmeiras attack very well lately, because Sao Paulo shows 4 successive clean sheets against Palmeiras, and they are unbeaten in the last 7 fixtures in all competitions versus their local rivals. Palmeiras go to the game against Sao Paulo with an unbeaten run of 13 games away from home in the Libertadores, 10 wins and 3 draw. This is the biggest unbeaten run away from home in the competition history. It's a sequence that started in 2019 for Palmeiras against Melgar in Peru. So yes, an impressive run for Palmeiras, but I play Sao Paulo with the upper hand in this first leg. I will look for goals under 2 with odds of 1.96. Crespo knows the importance of a clean sheet in a first leg, so Sao Paulo reaching their 5th consecutive clean sheet against Palmeiras has odds of 2.62.
All right, you don't expect many goals
Not
in.
really, Edu.
Well, an example, we just saw it only 10 days ago. Actually, we can check even below the outright odds for the Copa Libertadores, and we see that despite for this leg, Sao Paulo is favorite overall in the tournament. Palmeiras is the second favorite to hold the trophy, whereas Sao Paulo is the third team with the higher odds to win Copa Libertadores, but this game is going to be played in Morumbi, and Sao Paulo are slightly favorites. We are going to have a lot of Brazilian teams also in our second game. Club Olimpia Flamengo, here there is no doubt, Leo, who is the favorite to win the game, although we were mentioning it last week how Flamengo were cruising. They were the best team so far in Brazil, but this weekend you will tell me what happened to them, but they were thrashed at home 4-0 against Internacional after 8 consecutive victories. They were thrashing every single team, including actually Sao Paulo very recently, 5-1 also, including Defensa y Justicia in the second leg of the last 16th round. They were their rivals in that stage, whereas Club Olimpia was one of the biggest surprises in the previous round. They were able to knock out precisely Internacional in the penalty shootout, and they are not great actually in the Paraguayan league, only 3 points after 4 games. I guess we should expect Flamengo to qualify kind of easily, or do you think they will struggle at least in this leg in Paraguay?
To be honest, for me, if it's not the most, it's one of the most one-sided quarterfinals of all this Olimpia Flamengo. It's true, you said Olimpia beat Inter. Inter trashed Flamengo 4-0 yesterday. So some Olympians fans may like to believe that they should win this one. But we all know that football is far from being a simple rule of 3. Despite yesterday's meltdown, which was a meltdown for Renato Gaúcho's team in the Brazilian Serie A, for me, the Mengao Edu is the best team in South America. I have no doubt about that. Renato Gaúcho, like Sergio Orteman, the Olympia's manager, tried during the weekend, actually last night against Internacional, to use his best 11 in Rio with Inter. Of course, not with the idea of gaining confidence, but to continue with this flow of great performances and positive results. But watching the game, Edu, I could tell you that his players started the match with their mind somewhere else, absolutely, because they made too many mistakes on the ball, and before halftime they were already 2 goals down because they suffered in the counter attack, something that for sure Olimpia took note, and in the end they were trashed 4-0 by Inter, and Renato Gaúcho suffered his first defeat as Flamengo manager. And when it comes to Olimpia, It's true that they did or they had a good tie against Inter in the previous round, because Inter defeated Olimpia 6-1 in the group stage, and in the end in Porto Alegre they managed to go through in a penalty shootout. For me, tactically and technically, this Olimpia is far away from Flamengo's power. But of course, if there is something that Paraguayan football has teach us or has shown us, is that at club level and at national level, uh, they have a massive fighting spirit, which many times has helped them to shorten the distance. But I don't think so that this time will be enough against Flamengo. On the weekend, El Decano, as Olimpia is known, lost their second consecutive defeat, the second consecutive match, sorry, and it was their third defeat in the last four matches in the Torneo Clausura for Olimpia. They can't hide or find an excuse in having rotated players, because Sergio Orteman decided to play with his best 11 with idea, in Olympia's case, to gain confidence, but they couldn't get anything out of the game. They lost 3-1, and after the match, Orteman spoke of a team that needs to be more clever in terms of when to press, more clever on when not to do it, when to accelerate, when to slow down the games. So basically, many things to work with only 3 days for them before a crucial match. So all in all, Edu, I will look to goals over 2.5 with odds
Mm.
of 2.38, and also an Asian handicap of -1 for Flamengo has the market with odds of 2.21.
Then goals, easy victory for Flamengo. They are scoring a lot of goals in the recent games, and as you are mentioning, also conceding in the last game, at least in the Brasileirão. Then we have the only Argentinian team in this stage of the competition. River Plate, Atletico Mineiro. Very, very interesting game, this one.
Yeah.
Despite River Plate's problems in Primera División, you will tell me later, they are favorite with odds around 2.0 to beat Atletico Mineiro, which they are right now in the first spot in the Brasileirão after beating Juventude. And they have a player that is really informed, like Hulk and River. Leo, they are struggling. They have only 7 points in 5 games in the Argentinian league. They lost in the penalty shootout against Boca, but as we see also in the outright odds of this competition, and as we can see also for this game, they are favorites. Do you trust them, or you think Atletico Mineiro will put them in trouble?
I think when I look at the odds, which in a way surprised me a little bit how much they place River as favorite, it has to do with the recent history of River Plate in Copa Libertadores under Marcelo Gallardo. Definitely, that has an impact when it comes to the odds, I believe, because then when you look at how they are performing, both teams in their domestic leagues, yesterday Atletico Mineiro took the top of the table in the Brasileirão. They took the advantage of Palmeiras losing against Fortaleza, and they won their game against Juventude 1-2 away from home. Atletico Mineiro is a similar case to Flamengo in terms of being a team in top form. We could argue maybe that Cuca's team is less catching for the eye than Flamengo, maybe a team harder to fall in love with, but a team that is on 8 consecutive wins in the Brasileirão after beating Juventude on the weekend. Is a team, again, which is the leader of the Brazilian Serie A. They are in the middle of a huge week as well, because it's not just River Plate for the Libertadores, but they're going to be playing also Palmeiras on Saturday. So they have 2 very important games ahead. Did Cuca, because of this, use an alternative 11 yesterday? No, the answer is no. Hulk played 90 minutes and scored actually the equalizer. Nacho Fernandez played 90 minutes and assisted Nathan for the winning goal. Actually, for Nacho Fernandez, Edu, will be a special night because it's his return to the Monumental for the first time after he left at the start of this year. Fernandez is adored by the River fans. He was part of the team that won the Copa Libertadores in 2018 against Boca in that final, which was played in the Bernabeu in Madrid. And we will see, Edu, thinking about this tie, how River reacts if Mineiro scores first. I am saying this because the last 17 games in which they fall behind, River was not able to win that match. Of course, over the 7 years he's been in charge, Marcelo Gallardo had to reinvent his team many times, losing players every year. But to turn the result of a match used to be one of the main qualities of Gallardo Rivers. They did it in the final against Boca that I just mentioned in Madrid. They done it in the semi-final of that same Copa Libertadores against Gremio in Porto Alegre, and in many more games. But on Saturday in the Argentinian league, they fall behind against Godoy Cruz. They managed to equalize, but again they lost the game in the end. Also in the last three derbies with Boca, the same happened. They couldn't win after the rival scored first. It's true that on Saturday only the goalkeeper Armani and the right back Milton Casco were one of the players who will play against Mineiro and had the chance to play on the weekend. It was a very much rotated team that Gallardo used. But again, River shows signs of defensive mistakes, which could pay very, very, very harshly against Mineiro. And also one more thing, which could be an advantage for Mineiro. River was planning to play with fans in the stadium, with 15,000 fans. In the end, the Argentinian government said no to this. Whereas in Brazil, Mineiro was enabled to start selling 16,000 tickets for the return leg. So that could be a little advantage for Mineiro in this time, also in that matter. All in all, Edu, both teams to score has odds of 2.25. So I will look for that as well. And also a double chance for Mineiro to win or to draw for this first leg has odds of 2.
Remember also that River Plate was unable to win in the first leg in their stadium in the last 16 round against Argentinos Juniors. They had to do it in the reverse fixture, playing away when they got the qualification. So you are placing, because we have good odds actually, your tip to Atletico Mineiro, double chance for the Brazilian team. And let's take a look at the last game. Also, another Brazilian team, the fifth one, Fluminense, Barcelona de Guayaquil, Ecuadorian team. They've won so far all the games they've played in the Ecuadorian League. They were able also to beat Bel Air Sarsfield in the last 16 round, coming back in Ecuador after losing 1-0 in Argentina. They won 3-1 in the reverse fixtures. And Fluminense, another team that is struggling a little bit in the Serie A. They are 13th, another defeat in the weekend, in this case against American Mineiro. And they were able, I guess they've been lucky, we can say, Leo, they were able to beat Cerro Porteño in the last 16 rounds. They've been lucky, in the draw. And now they are also favorites to win this first leg, odds 2.04 to beat Barcelona. Do you think Barcelona can be the surprise of this Copa America? Because they did great also in the group stage. They finished top of their group before Boca.
Absolutely, before Boca and before Santos. On that group stage, so they done it very well against Vélez in the return leg at home in Guayaquil, where they get very hard to beat. They also played a very good football, a very good game on Fabian Bustos' team. So I can see this tie. Of course, we're gonna have to wait to Guayaquil, I believe, to see who's going through. I do not think so that Fluminense will be able to take an advantage, will make them play with a huge peace of mind in Ecuador. It's quite of a level one this time. It's interesting to watch. It's interesting to see this Fluminense Barcelona. Fluminense is one of the only two of the big Rio clubs not to have won the Libertadores yet. And as you said, they reached this stage after a 3-0 aggregate victory against Cerro Porteño, but being very lucky as well in the first leg with the help of the VAR when the game was 0-0 back in Asunción. And Fluminense was another of these quarterfinalist teams to lose on the weekend against a team which is fighting to avoid the relegation. They were actually lucky to have conceded only one goal because the goalkeeper Marcos Felipe was the man of the match. Edu, Roger Machado, Flu manager, will have to touch the right notes if he wants his team to travel to Guayaquil, as I said, with some peace of mind. I agree with him, with Machado, that Fluminense won't have the chance to create many goal opportunities on Wednesday, but they will have to be clinical against a Barcelona team that is hard to beat at home. And Wednesday, anyway, I expect that Fabian Bustos' team will sit quite deep and will try to see what Fluminense has to offer. The Ecuadorians are on a winning streak, Edu, of 5 games. Neither Fluminense or Barcelona usually win at halftime this season. Actually, only 26% of the games that Fluminense has played so far, they went to halftime winning that match. And for Barcelona, it's 33%. So we're going to have to see, or to wait maybe for the second half to see a winning score for either way. So I will be looking at goals under 2 with odds of 2, because as I said, I expect Barcelona sitting deep, being hard for Fluminense to break the lines of the Ecuadorian team, and also a clean sheet for Fluminense, which will be crucial in this first leg. A clean sheet for Fluminense has odds of 2.2.
I'm gonna give you also another option, as you said, if they are not, if we are gonna see in the second half of the game, both teams scoring a little bit more. I mean, attacking a little bit more. We have a draw at halftime, 2.05. Also, following your thoughts, Leo, that could be then another option for this Fluminense Barcelona. We have the return fixtures next week, so very soon we are gonna keep enjoying Copa Libertadores. Thanks, Leo. Let's see what is going on in this week in South America. Let's see what we have next week. Thanks for your tips, Leo, and everyone. Of course, thanks for following and watching, and don't forget, of course, to support us by clicking on the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click on the bell, of course, to get notifications whenever we do these live videos. Thank you, Leo. See you next week, and enjoy Copa Libertadores.
Absolutely. The pleasure is mine, and see you